Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, I am seriously pumped about today's topic because we're diving into something that can literally change the trajectory of your tech career. And the best part, it won't cost you a single dime. We're unpacking an incredible guide from Wilson Hall. He's a senior Linux sysadmin with over 18 years in the trenches, published over at Hosting Engineer. Hall has mapped out exactly how to navigate the 2026 DevOps landscape, specifically spotlighting the free certifications that are actually worth your time. If you're looking to upskill, validate your knowledge, and stand out in a ridiculously competitive job market, you are in exactly the right place.
Okay, let's dive into this. There's a massive problem in the tech education space right now. There are literally hundreds of DevOps certifications floating around out there. And honestly, the sheer volume of options can be totally paralyzing, whether you're a complete beginner or even a mid-level pro. You could spend weeks just researching what to study, let alone actually doing the work. So the core question we're answering today, straight from Hall's research, is this: which of these free options are actually going to move the needle for you this year? To get to the bottom of this, we'll be following a clear roadmap today. First, we'll look at the certification trap, then the top free certifications, followed by green flags versus red flags, the ultimate learning path, and finally, why it's all about projects over paper.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 1, the certification trap.
So this is the hurdle almost everyone faces when they first start out. Wilson Hall points out a pretty harsh reality in his guide. The vast majority of certifications out there fall into three extremely frustrating buckets. First off, they're wildly expensive. Sometimes we're talking hundreds or even thousands of dollars just for the privilege of taking the exam. Second, they're completely overhyped. You know the ones, those slick marketing campaigns promising you an instant six-figure job, right? And third, and honestly this is the absolute worst one, they are just not practical. You end up spending hours memorizing multiple choice questions instead of, actually touching a server or writing a deployment script. It's basically a trap, one that drains your wallet and leaves you totally unprepared for what a DevOps role actually demands.
So, the crucial point is this very simple equation. Skills are greater than certificates. Now, don't get me wrong, certifications absolutely do matter. They help validate your skills, they beef up your resume, and they're super helpful for beginners just trying to get past those annoying automated HR filters. But at the end of the day, a piece of paper cannot debug a crashed server. A digital badge isn't going to configure your deployment pipeline. Your practical, hands-on capabilities will always beat a certificate that you just memorized your way through.
Section 2. Top free certifications.
Hall's guide completely cuts through the noise here and gives us this incredibly powerful list. Let's break this down rapid fire. First up, we've got Google Cloud Skills Boost. The focus here is on free labs, which means you are getting hands-on learning right inside their actual environment. Next is AWS Training, offering free courses to really nail down your Amazon Web Services fundamentals. Then we have the Linux Foundation. Their free courses are just spectacular for DevOps basics and getting your feet wet with Kubernetes. Moving down, Microsoft Learn is your absolute go-to for Azure and general cloud concepts. Next, the CNCF Training, that's the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, which is essential for your Kubernetes basics. And finally, the GitHub Learning Lab. This one is absolutely vital for mastering CI/CD workflows and GitHub Actions. What makes this list such a game changer is that these are the recognized providers of the tech. You're learning the tools directly from the folks who built them, and you're doing it for free.
Section 3, green flags versus red flags.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how to act as your own quality control. Here's the exact framework Eval uses to evaluate a program. A certification is actually worth your time if it includes hands-on labs where you are physically typing commands, it needs to require real-world projects, and it must come from a recognized platform, like the ones we just talked about. On the flip side, we've got the red flags to avoid like the plague. If a course has zero practical content and is 100% theory, run away. If it's heavily focused on paid-only upsells where the free part is really just a teaser, skip it. And definitely beware of fake credentials from random, unknown organizations. Recruiters know exactly what those are, and they hold zero weight.
Moving on to Section 4, the ultimate learning path. Now that we have our resources, we really need a strategy. Hall makes a great point here. Grabbing random certificates out of order is just going to leave you confused. Instead, this is the exact chronological journey you need to take. Step 1. Linux Basics. Literally everything in DevOps runs on Linux. You have to understand the server environment first, no way around it. Step 2. Git and GitHub. You've got to know how code is stored, versioned, and collaborated on. Step 3 is CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment. This is how you automate the movement of all that code. Step 4. Kubernetes. Once you can automate code deployment, you need to understand how to orchestrate the containers holding that code at a massive scale. And finally, Step 5. Cloud. This is where you apply all of those previous steps to a major cloud provider like AWS, Google, or Azure. Listen, if you try to learn cloud before you understand Linux or Git, you are going to be completely lost. You've got to build the foundation step by step.
And finally, Section 5, Projects over Paper. This right here is where we bridge the gap between learning something and actually getting hired to do it. The absolute secret to making free certifications work for you is combining them with tangible, hands-on projects. Hall gives us some really great concrete examples of what this looks like in practice. For instance, don't just take the Linux Foundation course, actually go out and deploy an application on a virtual private server. Don't just read the GitHub docs, actually set up GitHub Actions to auto-deploy your own code. Don't just learn the theory of monitoring, actively monitor real server resources using the actual tools. When you do this, you're transforming a generic free certificate into a highly specific, resume-worthy achievement, something you can actually talk passionately about in an interview.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is, well, let this real-world insight sink in for a second. Recruiters care way more about projects and real skills. Think about it. When a hiring manager is staring at a massive stack of resumes, a list of free certificates might get a brief, polite glance. But a link to a GitHub repository where you actually used Ansible to manage multiple VPS servers, or a fully documented project where you spun up a Kubernetes cluster from scratch, that is what stops a recruiter dead in their tracks. That right there is undeniable proof of your capability.
So, let's address the elephant in the room and answer one of the most frequently asked questions from the Hosting Engineer Guide. Do these free certifications actually guarantee you a job?
The completely honest answer? No. Nothing guarantees a job. But applying the practical, hands-on skills you learn from these high-quality, free resources absolutely might. Free DevOps certifications are incredibly useful tools, but only if you take that knowledge out of your web browser and apply it to a real-world scenario. You've got the roadmap, you know the green flags to look for, and you have the exact 5-step path to follow. So the only question left for you is this: what is the very first project you're going to build today to prove your worth?